What is up, everybody? How's it going? Hopefully, you guys are doing well. I know it's been a while, but I'm here to talk about the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. Again, sorry about the lighting and the camera work. It's a little bit shoddy, but I'm using the best of what I got. But, anyways, I wanted to talk about the Star Wars Classic Collection and talk about my opinions and wanted to rant about it a little bit. So I originally saw this get announced, and I was actually really excited because I actually played the Battlefront 1 and 2 games back in the day on the PlayStation 2, and I think I played at other friends' houses as well, and I'll get into that later. But I was actually excited because they were remaking these, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And so I think I saw the price of like $31 or 49 cents or something like that on PlayStation. And I was actually kind of cool that it was a discount, and I wanted to pre-order, but knowing my suspicion within the gaming industry, I didn't pre-order because it's kind of bad to pre-order games these days. Especially they didn't really show any gameplay and trailers in the trailer, so I thought that was a little suspicious. But it was really cool of the idea that they're remaking these games. So, as the months went, or I think it was like a month or two, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks till after the trailer launched, the game launched. And that was like a week ago. I think it was on the 14th. I'm filming this on the 21st of March right now. And let's just say it didn't really go well. Just like any other port release, I know the GTA series with the old games, they messed up on launch and it didn't really do well. And so I kind of had a suspicion it would do poorly. And that's why I didn't pre-order it. I wanted to wait a few days after the pre-order just in case it was bad. And I did. And my suspicion was right. Because let's first talk about the first issue. And that is the idea of that there's only 3 servers. Yes, 3 servers live on launch night to hundreds of thousands of players, and I'm just like, what? That can't be right. So that's like 64 players on each team, 128 times 3, so that's like what 400 spots or something like that. And it just didn't really make sense, you know. And so I thought that was a really poor in taste. I did like how the graphics, though, were improved. Like, the textures were really cool. They actually remastered the graphics and stuff like that, which I loved. But I think people weren't there for the single player that much. They were there for the multiplayer because you can always play the single player games on the original games. But the thing is, people were there for the multiplayer. They wanted to play with other people. And so on launch night, it wasn't really a good look for Aspire. I keep on saying Aspire, or it goes by many different names. People call them Aspire, or Aspire, or Aspire. And so it's many different names. But anyways, it's not a good look on them. And so the second big problem I noticed in what I've heard is that they locked the multiplayer to 30 FPS. I mean, what? If you're playing a multiplayer game, you kind of need a little bit more than 30 FPS to be good at the game, you know? Tell that to Call of Duty players where they need above 60 FPS to be good at the game. Now, I don't play Call of Duty. I'm just guessing. So I thought that was really, really bad because people are like, oh, yeah, you can always play single player and do it. It's more than 30 FPS. But the thing is, you don't, like I said earlier, you don't play it for the single player. Or sorry, you don't play it for the single player. You play it for the multiplayer. And so that was really, really bad. The second thing that kind of drew me off. And then what I also heard is that it was really buggy and glitchy, and it didn't really work. It kept on crashing for many people, and it wasn't really a good game in terms of functionality. And that's what I didn't like, and what I heard that I didn't like is that it wasn't good at launch. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about is when I heard about this announcement, I love the idea of it having remastered graphics. And so I really love that. And the thing is, I wanted to play the multiplayer, but the thing is, people don't really play the single player. Um, let's talk about. Sorry, I'm going all over about this rant, but basically, what was really cool about that multiplayer um, was the split screen functionality. And I heard also that they only had two split screens, not four. Two, four, that's half. So, but the thing is, you don't really find that these days. Of people going over to other people's houses and playing with other people, um, you don't really find that these days. So I kind of get why they did two, but it would be nice. It would be four, just like the old days. Because I remember always going over to people's houses, and we would always play 4-player death matches and just have a fun time. I mean, the Battlefront games back in the day. If you were a kid, um, I'm in my late 20s, and so it's amazing. It's amazing that I grew up in the time that Battlefront 1 and 2 came out back in like 2004 or whatever. And those were just amazing games at the time because they were revolutionary in what they could do. The graphics, the fun, the Star Wars, especially with the prequels coming out at the time, it was so fun. But you don't really find that these days where you go over to other people's houses and play games with them. For example, Super Smash Brothers. When was the last time you went over to someone's house and played Super Smash Brothers as a group? Um, and so that's the other thing that kind of drew me away is it only had two screens for a split screen. And so, and then just in terms of the only thing I can say that's good about the game of what I've seen is the graphics. The graphics are amazing. I knew they would be amazing. And then going on to my third or fourth or fifth, I think it's the fourth or fifth. Can't remember. Can't keep track. Anyways, it would be the file size. It's like 70 gigabytes on PC. I think it's like 60 something on PS5. And it's only like, what, 20, 30 on a Switch or something like that. Either way, it's a really big file compared to the 12 gigabytes total you would have in both games back in 2004. And I was like, great. So the game is unoptimized too. Reminds me a lot of Call of Duty. I mean, I don't want to install Call of Duty and this game and it'll fill my whole entire hard drive, right? It's ridiculous. They didn't want to bother compressing the files and making the game more optimized. I mean, that's just lazy work. And so these are all my thoughts about the game. I didn't really like it when it launched. Like I said, I didn't want to pre-order it just in case this happened. And yeah, it does. It did happen because it was just lazy and they didn't really do any work to it. And so I'm really mad about that because I really wanted these games to be revolutionary, inspired. Now, by the time I'm talking, sure, the servers are fixed and many of the bugs have been probably fixed already, but that's not the point. It should never be the point, okay? For example, Cyberpunk 2077. Remember how garbage of a state it launched in? And people were so mad? And then it finally got fixed later? This is the point. People shouldn't have to wait to actually get the games fixed. They should be fixed and perfectly playable on day one. Sure, it should have some minor graphical bugs and glitches, some minor tweaks they might have to do in terms of characters or sound, but it should work flawlessly on day one. It shouldn't have 3 servers. It shouldn't have it crashing and glitching on day one. It shouldn't have any of that. And that's my point to the gaming industry, is that these games shouldn't launch in this state. Sure, if they wanted to delay it to March 21st, the week after, that's fine. I really, really don't care. Because that would actually give people time and wait a little bit more. But that's the thing. It's like, if your game's not ready on day one, why buy it on day one? And why would you have to wait to have fun in the game a week later? Can't you just buy the game a week later and then you'll have fun? And that's my point to all this in the gaming industry. Is like, oh, for Cyberpunk, for Payday 3, which not glitchy, but they don't have any content in there. What else? I'm trying to think. Anthem, Fallout 70, Fallout 76. You got Avengers, I think was bad on its first week. Anyways, my point is that why should you buy games day one if they aren't going to be ready and you're just not going to have fun with them? Can't you just buy them a month later, a year later, and actually perfectly be fixed? I know it's all the hype and everything, but geez. It shouldn't be about hype when you buy a video game. It should be about the fun you'll have. And you have to look past the hype to have fun. Because the developers, the thing is, you're beta testers when you first buy a game. They don't have enough time, and so to hire the 20 beta developers. So instead, what did they do? They launched a game and expect 200,000 beta testers to give them updates and stuff like that. I don't know why they do that, but it happens. So this is kind of like my rant because I do not like the state of the launch of the Battlefront Classic Collection. I think it was a terrible one. Should I support them? Absolutely not. I would love to get like a if they come out with it. I don't think they will. I would love to get like a physical version of this because it launched digitally. But the thing is, I don't think they will. I don't think Spire is actually into the mood of launching things physically after release. And so that's why I'm not playing it at this moment. I do not want to play the new game at all. It's just not what I'm here for. I'm playing games. Overwatch 2 is fun. Still playing that. I'm playing a lot of the finals. I love that game. I'm talking about like live service games that I still love to play here and there. I just played a round of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Should be up on my channel right now. And I still love that. Yeah, it was bad at launch, but I got it for like, what, $10-15 back in 2018. And it's still a good purchase to play today. So why not? And so, yeah. That's kind of like my rant about all this, is that the main point I'm trying to drive home to people is that why should you buy a video game day one if it's not going to work and you're not going to have fun? Just buy it a month later, you'll have so much fun. Battlefront Classic Collection is a perfect example of that. Anyways, hopefully you guys are doing well. I'm doing well. And with lots of love and respect, I'll see you guys later. See ya.